took place on Saturday night. A locker room festive atmosphere helped aid, I would think, some decisions to be expedited in a favorable manner as well. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. Director Matthew here as always on Twitter. It's at Jake Cameron Show. Looks like the vast majority of you had no problem finding the link there for the montage, and we had fun with that. Tom and I talked on Sunday after this most glorious event, and you got to find a way to do a montage. Can't not after a game like that. So we have to have the workaround, and that's why you had to go where you had to go, and then welcome back here and all that good stuff. But good job, Tom, and good job, Noles, as that was one for the ages. It's weird, too, because when I got it. When you have the opportunity, obviously, Mike doesn't sound like he's on. Are we on? We good?
Yeah, we're good.
All right. When you have the opportunity to garner some momentum, gather and create a situation by which it's not just a statistical truth that Florida State is improving, but rather you see it again on the field, and you get a win like this against a program that you're going to have to compete for recruits with and who appear to be reeling, and at the same time have the opportunity to kind of build towards an ending of the season in which, hey, there's still an opportunity for Florida State to beat Florida. We just saw what they did in the Samford game, in which they gave up a record number of points, 42, in fact, in the first half. And, all of a sudden, this has been the roller coaster of roller coasters this year. It's an 0-4 start. It's we're never going to get traction. What are we going to do? Followed by, okay, there's 3 straight wins. There's a team still fighting, coming around, getting a road victory as well. Then there are the losses that remind you how far you still have to go. Then there's the, oh, my God, we're out to a great start. This could be possible if we can get this thing to, at 20-7 receiving the ball. I texted Tom, hey, get this to 27-7, and let's see where this thing goes. Next thing you know, oh, man, are we going to get blown out? It's really bizarre how the game seemed to mirror the rocky road, the ups and downs of a season in which you are at one time absolutely sullen, sad, frustrated, angry, all of those things, followed by euphoric and believing, followed by, oh my God, no, here we go again. And then yet here it is. So I don't know what's going to happen against Boston College, but I know what just happened. Florida State ended a losing streak in the most glorious way and in the most painful way for Miami. And today that resonates. That resonates big time. And I was really happy for these kids who have fought so hard all year. For all of our criticisms, for all of our, discussion about what they aren't, we've never once said that they didn't make you like them, because they certainly do fight. And that paid off here.
So what that game reminded me of in the second half, and I know that when Miami is the team on the other sideline, it's different. I get that. But what that game reminded me of in the second half was Syracuse. Remember, against Syracuse, we pulled away by multiple scores 2 different times. And the second time, it was 30-20, and there was a punt.
You got the game won, and then you dropped the punt.
Correct. There's a first down play. It's, what's the score at the time? 20-7? And you've got a screen pass.
It's going to go for days.
That's going to go at least into the red zone. And Jordan and Jay Sean are not on the same page. Second down, whatever. Third down's the fumble. And from there, Miami comes to life.
Yeah.
They're on a 21-0 run, but it all started with a mistake we made. But I knew in the Syracuse game we had the chutzpah to respond. I didn't know about 4th and 14, though. Like that catch and play to Ja'Kai that got the drive going, felt pretty good. But all of that awesomeness that was the stand, you were in the building, all of that raucousness that was in the stands was gone by the time you got to 4th and 14. You feel forlorn again, like you're going to let this thing go. And then when that play is made, it's almost a foregone conclusion, except 1st and goal from the half-yard line, you don't get in, and you're saying, no.
Don't fool around now.
Let's not allow this to be one of those moments where there's a montage of everything that went wrong for Florida State, and this adds to that ledger. Get the hell in the end zone. When you do, man, I get it. They responded to a Syracuse team, and they won that game in fluke fashion. This was even better than the response to Syracuse because it was a rivalry game, and also you were trailing. You were trailing in the moment, and you made the plays to go get the win.
Let's go through the decision-making here. There's things that are very deliberate that Mike Norvell does. when his team is up against the ropes and reeling. This was the equivalent of you got to get out of the round. You got to get out of the round. We got to get out of the round and still be upright. So at 28-20, you're hurting. You've been dealt a blow, and it looks like there's very little chance at that point. It's not over. You still have a puncher's chance, but you're in trouble because their athletes, and they have more of them, are beginning to take over the game, and they had for a long stretch of time at that point. So the athleticism and the overall receiver play, all of the stuff that Florida State doesn't possess, and the fact that Van Dyke gathered himself in that second half after being very rattled in the first half. I think wind conditions hurt him in the first half, but Florida State's front four, which is what we said would have to carry the day, also hurt him in that first half. This ain't Georgia Tech. We got some dudes up front. And so you see him having to overcome that, but they're allowed to overcome that because of the deficiencies in Florida State's offense. So they start to make plays. He then takes the air out of the ball, if you will, and I don't mean in the passing game. I mean Mike knows the defense is up against it, and he needs to possess the football. So there is no sense of urgency to the long drive in the fourth quarter, down 8. And Tom, I'll tell you, in the stands, there's a restlessness developing. You can feel it. I'm sure he could feel it. And you have to try to convey to your players, it's okay. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about the tick, 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 tick part of all of this. We've got to get points. Now, you're ideally driving to score a touchdown and go for 2. But you have to get points one way or the other. And as you get into that decision-making time, when you get down there and you got to take the 3, you have to have so much belief that, A, you're going to get a stop. He talked about this after the game. A, I trust this defense now, well-rested. I've given them a ton of time. The crowd is raucous. We can get a stop and get the ball back. It's a gamble, but you have to be all in, chips middle of the table to take that risk, to believe that's the method that we have to go by which to steal this game, and it works. And it works. And if it doesn't, you're criticized today.
It's just such a hard game to break down because all we want to do is focus on the beginning. But, I mean, you're in the stands. It almost feels like easy street for about a half an hour. You're up 17-0. You get to the break, you're up 20-7. You get the football after the break. And you saw that Tyler Van Dyke was flustered in the first half. There was no doubt. You could see it on television. I can tell you when they went to the zoomed-in look in his eyes, I saw something different than I had seen all week last week. I looked at every offensive play since he took over. It was the Friday night of Virginia, all the way up to present time. I never saw a look in his eyes like I did in the first half of Saturday's game. He's been on the road before, but never in an environment like that, never in a game like that, and it affected him. So you're up 20-7 at the break, and you're thinking, boy, could we just run away with this thing and hide? And then for about an hour, the answer was no. For about an hour, even at 20-14 with a deflection. It's like the revenge for the Carlos Williams play in 2014.
And it's such a horsebleed play. And when it happens, you think to yourself, well, it's just not destined to be. But that's where the fight comes back here. This is where you get back to, hey, you can't let that be the reason you lose. I mean, that is a bit of really unlucky misfortune, but you got to go play the game. Again, I think the deliverance of that fourth quarter drive, I'm not talking about the touchdown drive that wins the game. I'm talking about the one that nets you 3 points. It is a decision. It is deliberate to take a lot of time off the clock to shorten the game, knowing your defense is tired and that they have all the momentum. You're reeling at that point. And Jordan Travis makes 2 really big throws on the drive, including the one where he escapes pressure and hits to the far. I can't remember who he hit, to the far side. And you think about the plays that have to be made. This is where it's a big deal, because you don't just win the game because of Miami mistakes. That first half, there's a lot of stuff that happens that really, is gift wrapped by Miami. They're like, here you go. Here's another penalty. Here's another penalty.
We hardly scored off of it.
It was crazy, right? Yeah. You're like, okay, well, thanks, guys. If you're going to keep doing this all day, fine. If you're going to, lose composure that easily, fine, we'll take it. But when you get down, you have to make plays. There are a bunch of guys that have to make plays, and they do. What that has to mean for your confidence moving forward. And also, I've said it for much of this year, I just like the combination of Mike Norvell and Kenny Dillingham. They really work well together in finding ways to get guys, especially as limited as we are, finding ways to get guys in one-on-one situations. We don't always make those plays, but they create a ton of one-on-one situations because of formation. They make adjustments on the fly to force defenses' hands to reveal themselves. They do a lot of this. They create the extra gap in the run game. They do such a good job of manufacturing opportunity, of which there are very limited chances because your personnel is not where it needs to be just yet. And this is not just to take shots. It's part of the rebuilding process. You're not where you want to be. But what it reveals to you is that once you are, oh, look out now. I mean, when they get some dudes, I'm talking about a bevy of dudes, to where you can recreate competition, fierce competition in practice, where you have a depth of speed and agility and talent competing with one another every day. Yeah, man, they're going to put together games in which you're dropping 40 on the regular. I believe that to be true. It's their MO from the past. I just think that they're very patient. They know what they're not. They know what they can't do. It took them too long. If you want to gripe, the Jacksonville State game's the game we always go back to. They were still experimenting. They still didn't know what they were back then, and it came back to bite them, and we'll forever remember it. But from that time forward, they have really played to an identity, and they've built slowly but surely and ingrained some confidence. And obviously, Jordan's gotten better, and good for Jordan Travis, who made some big throws in this game. I got to give him credit. With it on the line, he makes some really big throws, and he gets shortchanged a little bit. I mean, you have a miscommunication. Parchment stops running. That's a huge play. That's a chance at a touchdown, and it doesn't happen.
It's going to be a touchdown.
I think so, yeah. And you got a couple drops in there to boot, which is kind of norm for our receivers these days. So good job for him. He really never looked flustered to me. Always looked like he was in the moment, of the moment, with belief. It's so important for a kid in a huddle to look into a quarterback's eyes and to see the belief that he has, and I think Norvell talked about that after the game. He thought Jordan played a great game, but most importantly, Jordan seemed to play the next play. A lot of coaches say that. It's easier said than done. When you drop a football or you miss a read or you make a mistake and it leads directly to the other team getting an opportunity to build a lead, it's hard to flush it. It's hard to say, okay, we're going to move on here. I've got to make the next play or the next play. And that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, to me, it's now on the table that next year he could legitimately be your starting quarterback.
Sure.
Because if you look at the throws he's made on the road at Clemson and then on Saturday, some of the throws, it's not like 2 or 3 of them. Now you're talking about 10 throws, 12 throws that show the kind of things that we saw in fall camp, that the game is slowing down for him on Saturdays, not just when he has a green jersey on in fall camp. And that gets exciting.
Yeah.
The other thing that is so critical, we haven't talked about it yet, but you were in the stands and you were there for the show. How emotionally exhausted were you after the game was over? Because, I mean, it was one big high, a terrible low, and another high to finish the game. Well, that show was put on for those recruits and for the big-time kids that were here for this game this weekend and for the other big-time kids who have been here for Notre Dame and Miami in that building this season.
You've shown what's possible.
We've done as much as – if they're not coming after those 2 games, they weren't coming, period.
Yeah, and, you're never going to get everybody you want, but you got a chance to get the bulk of them. And you rolled the dice for the Notre Dame game, and then obviously this was a no-brainer. You kind of had to do it. It's a rivalry game, and you're at home, and it's an opportunity. But you're right, to rise to the occasion and put together a great game that you fall short in overtime. And in retrospect, again, I'm not in love with that Notre Dame team. They got 1 loss, and it's to the number 4 or 5 team in the country. So they have found ways to get wins. In retrospect, that will be a 10-win Notre Dame team. So you were right there, okay? And then you do beat this Miami team that came in on a roll with a quarterback probably feeling better about himself and this offense that better about themselves than they had felt all year long. And you got stops too. I mean, listen, I think this is what this allows you to do. Now, we've got 2 more games. But it does appear to be shaping up. I have didn't know if we were going to be able to achieve it. Didn't know if there was going to be a way to make it happen. But I have really desperately wanted this group to do enough to give Norvell reason to keep everybody in place. Because when you've been as discombobulated as Florida State has been as a program in football, you just want stability. You'd like to be able to fall back on stability, a familiar voice, a way of doing things, an implementation that's understood by all, responsibility accepted. All of these things, right? You want to sustain that, and you don't always get that chance. You see lots of coaches having to let other coaches go right now. They usually do that as a precursor to they themselves being told to have a good day. That reeks of instability when something like that's happening. Recruits aren't that dumb. They can see what's happening when you're firing guys left and right. I mean, you're just staving off the inevitable at that point. So you want to be able to go into next season. Now, you're not going to be in love with every one of your coaches, and there are going to be aspects of your team that you think have to improve.
Well, that's the job of the head coach, to self-scout, to really analyze that and say, okay, here's what we got to do better. But I think I have the guys to make those changes, meaning those guys can stay. We're just going to make some subtle changes here or there. But the overall standards of the program and the implementation of what we're trying to do here will remain the same. And those voices, those position coaches, are the same for these players. And they get to walk into that building with a sense of ease and familiarity. I've wanted that to be the case. I think this win and the way that they've continued to get better allows for that. Now, again, you've got a couple more games, so you're always analyzing. I suppose if somehow you go out and give up 50 to BC in Florida, you might have another discussion. But as of right now, it doesn't feel like it's trending in that direction. It feels like Florida State will show up and play pretty good football. They're still going to have to work hard. They're still deficient. They're still going to have to really play very good football to win this next game against BC. You worry about Florida later. Right now, they seem to be a mess. But, you worry about each of these games because you're not good enough to overlook it. But, man, what a stamp of approval that was for these coaches and these players on a Saturday night that turns out to be what we feel like is a jump start or cornerstone moment for Florida State to move forward and feel good about where they're headed.
Yeah, the next step is when you're in a situation like that, run away and hide. Take it. Go ahead. Put the game on ice. It doesn't matter that their quarterback is really good. He's poor on this day for a period of time, and he doesn't get the chance to respond and put Miami ahead. Unfortunately, we gave them those opportunities. They got the confidence. You saw their sideline. You saw the playmakers that we talked about all week long. I mean, that throw from his own 3-yard line on the first play of that drive after we play field position very well, he completes it to Rambo. Damn it. I mean, what are you going to do with that? That's good coverage. The 4th and 6 to Rambo after you get the 5-yard penalty for running into the kicker, the back shoulder, and Rambo cuts up towards the middle of the field. I mean, what are you going to do with that? It's just, you don't want to be put in that position to where you're behind after you controlled every element of the game. We were on the field for nearly 20 minutes in the first half.
Yeah, you're cruising. You really are.
That's the next step. But it's okay. The way you responded this game is going to teach you lessons for years to come.
Well, and as you get better, you will put an end to things. You will have an opportunity to end things sooner when you're a little bit more accomplished, a little bit more confident, and you've done it many times. What I mean by that is at 20-7, you come out, you get the ball. If you go down and score, the game's over. Miami will quit. They wanted to. If it gets, I promise you,
they were lifeless.
If it gets to 27-7, Katie bar the door, you're probably going to blow their ass out. That's who they are. Now, you don't do that. In fact, you do the furthest thing from it. Okay? It happens. You're not mature enough to handle that in the moment. And then Miami gets it to 20-14. At 20-14, I think everybody in that stadium felt like we had a game on our hands. We got a problem.
We need to score.
This is soon. This is a problem. Because you kept waiting for the moment that Miami took the lead, and you knew, and I knew, because they're in the stands, you could just feel that negative energy. You could feel this is inevitable. They're going to take the lead. My question to my father at the time was, when Miami takes the lead, I remember saying that, when Miami takes the lead and gets it to 21-20, how do we respond? What do we do? What happens for Florida State in that moment? Because that will say a lot about just how tough or not this team is and how much they actually believe. They can talk about it all they want, but you're in a rivalry game against the team now. It's feeling itself, and they just took the lead in your place, and their little corner of the end zone is going nuts. And it's loud, by the way, that their fans did a good job. You're thinking, okay, well, we'll see. Now, we did go, and we got to go to break, this entire segment without mentioning Jermaine Johnson. And I cannot abide by that. So when we come back, it's all things Jermaine Johnson in a moment. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV. ISF, know you want to do amazing things. You have big ideas and goals for the future. For over 40 years, ISF has focused on solving the future for state government through strategy, process, and technology. As a national management and IT consulting firm, ISF has the expertise to transform strategies, refine processes, and implement solutions to lead you in today's changing environment. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Hi, I'm Jeff, founder of Which Superior Sandwiches, and I'm here to tell you about our signature witch, the Wicked. Why call it the Wicked? Some say it's wicked tasty, some say it's wicked large. One thing's for sure, with oven-roasted turkey, ham, pepperoni, roast beef, and bacon, as well as your choice of 3 cheeses, it definitely takes you from wicked hungry to wicked happy in just a few wicked good bites, only at Which Superior Sandwiches.
On Wednesday, the Wicked is just $5. 5 meats, 3 cheeses, $5. Barry knows cool. He's keeping you comfortable.
This is Kyle, Service Manager from Barano Heating and Air. Schedule an appointment from your mobile device to learn about our Total Comfort Service Program. With guaranteed same-day service, 15% off necessary repairs, and $25 Berry Bucks to use towards air filters and other products. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Any day, anytime, anywhere. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
Every great construction project, whether it's a new addition or renovation, starts with a plan. At T-Spark, we are excited when our clients contact us to assist with that plan. Through our team of architects, draftsmen, engineers, we can help you with your project's planning and design, potentially saving costs in the long run. Whether you have a residential or commercial project, we look forward to working with you. Call us today or visit us at tsparkconstruction.com. License number CGC 1525336.
Wooden Glass has been taking care of families since 1945.
Experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best, like Wooden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Wooden Glass, and they provide precise installation.
Wooden Glass, Tallahassee's first family in glass. Online at woodenglass.com. Call 850-222-5781.
When some slithery, slimy something shows up uninvited in my home, I want it gone. Now. Not next Tuesday, not tomorrow. Today. Pretty sure I'm not sleeping knowing that thing is crawling around in my house. That's why I call Paul's Termite and Pest Control. Here in Tallahassee, Paul's guarantees same-day service if I call before 1. Ants, roaches, mice, wasps, fleas, whatever it is, Paul's responds with guaranteed same-day service. Pretty sure I've never heard that from any other pest company. Guess that's an advantage to being a locally owned and operated company like Paul's Termite and Pest Control. They're here and make things happen fast.
We at Paul's know when you have some pest or rodent in your home, you want it out now. That's why in Tallahassee, we guarantee same-day service. You call us before 1, we'll be there before 5, guaranteed. That's our commitment to you. The health and protection of North Florida friends and neighbors is the reason we love our jobs.
For the elimination of termites or any other pests.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Learn more at callpauls.com.
Live in living color and totally free, subscribe to Warchant TV on YouTube, the digital home of Warchant.com. From the practice field to pregame and the phone calls afterwards, Warchant's YouTube channel is home to live programming like Seminole Headlines, Wake Up Warchant, The Jeff Cameron Show, as well as Trench Talk, a live Q&A with Noles offensive lineman Devontae Love-Taylor. Just search Warchant on YouTube and click or tap the subscribe button. That's it. It's totally free. Warchant TV on YouTube. Just another reason we're the ultimate Seminole sports source.
And getting yourself in shape and holding yourself accountable and being coached up and encouraged in the right way, then make sure you go do it. I would strongly encourage everybody to do it. Love me some Orange Theory Fitness. I talk about it a lot, of course, and we've got a wonderful partnership. But I actually do believe in the methodology, the science behind it, and, of course, the opportunity that it presents to you, because you get to get in there and you get a sense of it. It seems a little overwhelming at first, and then you get in there and you realize, okay, nobody's paying attention to me. They're too worried about themselves. They're locked in, and I get to see exactly where I'm at. I know where my fitness is. OrangeTheoryFitness.com. And you'll want to learn more, but each time you go, it does kind of become like a cult. And I mean that in a good way. It's like everybody supports each other, so it's pretty cool. There's 2 locations in Tallahassee. If you want to know more, tweet at me or something, and I'll get back to you.
A little bit different than like the A&M feel. You know.
Yeah, no, there's no burning stuff and all that crazy dance around. No, just good old fashioned workouts. That's all that is. Okay, Jermaine Johnson, I loved you before the game. Now you enter into a lore of Florida State history, and congratulations to you because you did everything that you said you were going to do. I talked to you before the season began, and I asked you a very pointed question about why us, why here, why Florida State, why Mike Norvell. Your candor was greatly appreciated that evening, I should say. And your play has been greatly appreciated ever since because he did come here to be a leader. He did come here to help transform a program. He did come here knowing that he would not be going to the college football playoff. There were teams that wanted him to go play at their particular university who would have been in the mix for the college football playoff. He said no. He saw this as a grand opportunity, and he hailed this as a place he wanted to go because he believed in Mike Norvell and he believed in what Mike told him, which was I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to make you better as a player. You'll get to the league. You've got an opportunity to play here, but I'm going to make you work as hard as anybody else because I want to bring out the best in you. And he believed him, and that has happened. But in addition, what he has given this university and what he's given this program will be something that you and I and the rest of Florida State faithful everywhere will remember forever. It is so very rare to see a kid come into a program and play one singular season and then stand out in such a way that they go down in the program's history as one of the all-time greats. That's usually built to over time. That's a freshman you get a glimpse of early and you see real talent and he's on special teams and he gets in here or there and you realize, oh, that kid's got something. By year 2, he may be a starter, even dominating. By year 3, he's an All-American. You know you're only going to have him for another few weeks, and he's going to go take it to the NFL, and you're going to think about retiring his number, all those things, right? But it's usually not a singular season. Walter Jones stands out as that guy who did that one time, and now Jermaine Johnson will enter his name into that realm, and he did it with a performance that, well, 7 tackles, 5 of those are for loss, 3 sacks and a forced fumble. And on every play, you could see Miami having to scheme for that menace to society. I mean, that had to have been the worst feeling in the world, knowing you've got to either provide help or account for the fact that you've got, about 3 seconds at best to throw a football. It was unreal.
He's the first person I was happy for. You know, we talked about this in the pregame show, that this is a team that's easy to root for because of how hard they work, what they don't have, and what they try to overcome. And that we had the best player on the field on Saturday is quite the statement because Miami's pretty talented. And those kids, by the end of the game, you got to see how talented those young players are, especially at quarterback. But for 60 minutes, Jermaine Johnson was unbelievable. It was in the montage, ubiquitous. He was everywhere at all times. You always felt his presence. And it's only fitting that on third and 4, he's the one that pursues from the other side of the field. We'll have the clips. We'll bring them up later during the show today. We've got all the B-roll. I know we ran it on Sunday Smash and the postgame show. But he's lined up over the right tackle. The play is made on the left-hand sideline. That's pursuit, it's will, it's effort. It's everything that we love about this football program embodied in one player who just happens to be getting himself paid a lot of money in just a short few months in the NFL.
Ira and I were talking about it on the Sunday Smash last night about it's not just the pursuit and the play that he makes, but it's that the way he hits him is to ensure that he gets no opportunity to move forward. It's at those 2 yards that you're going to get in. You're not going to get an inch more because we don't want to run the risk at 4th and 1 that you go for it. So at 2, Manny's hands are kind of tied. I mean, at 4th and 2 from where they are, given the game score and the time and how little the offense had done, he decides, all right, I'm going to punt here. At 4th and 1, does he make that decision? I don't know. We'll never know. But that's because of the hit and the play that Jermaine makes. But that's just a special play.
It's so heady. How many times? We saw it yesterday. I was actually watching Noles basketball, and they cut to, on the second television, the Falcons and the Cowboys. And I was watching that with Corey, and there was
a hideous game.
There was a player for the Cowboys, I forget who it was, at the 2-yard line or the 1-yard line, and a defensive lineman for the Falcons comes. It's the same kind of situation. He breaks the tie, but he pushes the guy in the end zone.
Yeah.
How many times do you see a defender advance an offensive player?
Yeah. And in that moment, this particular play, he can't get another inch. You've done a good job, but that's a big man. You've done a good job, and he's fighting, as he should be. And then our big man comes from across the field and says,
right,
get you some of this.
If he gets it to 4th and a true yard, Manny might go. If he gets it inside a yard, I think Manny's definitely going.
Yeah, and he should. I actually think at 4th and 1 or shorter, you're going for that no matter what. At 4th and 2, 2.5.
A legitimate 2.
Yeah, it's a legit 2. It's almost 2.5. He knows in that moment they've got a good front 4. There's no real guarantee here. Do I dare throw it with a freshman quarterback?
Spreads more than a touchdown.
Yeah, so
or more than a field goal.
More than a field goal. Yeah.
Field goal.
No, it's tough. He realizes he's got to punt there, and he does. And then we'll be forever thankful to the football gods because yet again, when you have to catch a punt, you don't, and that ball bounces. And if it's down on the 1, you lose the football game. That ball goes into the end zone, and you have a fighting chance to win the game.
Yeah, you make an effort on that play, you're going to get the ball at the 35-yard line, because it's kick-catch interference. The guy's in the way.
Well, it's all day long. All day long they did that. But, again, they're picking up on our reluctance. And so the teams are going to be ultra-aggressive and push the line or the letter of the law when it comes to us returning and catching punts. They'll take a risk that they're going to get catch interference because they know we're already nervous. We're already reluctant, as I said before. It's, it doesn't matter. Ball winning the end zone.
The thing about 11 is the reason I'm extra happy for him is he already had his iconic moment, but it was taken away.
Mm-hmm.
At Clemson, he had the moment. I'm not talking about the unsportsmanlike penalty. I'm talking about the fact that we couldn't ice it with the ball, 5 minutes to go in a 3-point game, and we're winning. If we ice the game in that moment, then Jermaine Johnson's strip sack and return for a touchdown against Clemson is already the signature moment of his career. It's going to be oh yeah, he did that too. Remember that? We didn't win that game. That's too bad. And he still gets it's awesome. He deserves it.
Well, Tom, for the vast majority of the Notre Dame game, he was the best player on the field too. I mean, they've played some high-profile teams in which he was the best player on the field, or certainly in the conversation. So,
and that body type is ready-made for Sundays. There's nothing you need to do.
No, and I think for Jermaine, and I bet you'll hear this as we talk big picture here, I do think you'll hear the criticisms because, look, playing in the league as opposed to dominating the ACC or, being a good, really, really, really good college football player and having a body type, two different things. I think they'll probably want him, but the framework is there, the strength is there, the work ethic, the discipline, the intelligence, it's all there. They'll want him to work on more moves. He's not, there are guys that break into the league as pass rushers where you watch the highlight tape and you go, oh, he's got that too. Oh, he's got that too. And there's like 4 or 5 different moves where he sets people up. He doesn't quite do that yet. He does get by with an awful lot of wonderful lean. He's able to put that ankle, that foot into the ground and lean. He gets a lot of that. He's incredibly strong, obviously.
Yeah, his hands are strong.
Yeah, if he gets his hands
if he gets there first, you're screwed.
Yeah, you're screwed. You see that a lot. But he needs to probably develop a few more moves. But, hey, listen, that doesn't matter to me. I mean, he's been awesome here. I only worry about that if you draft him. So.
He broke out the spinny on the left tackle from NC State as a first-round grade.
Yep. Oh, that was an abusive moment.
One of the sacks was a broken pocket moment.
Right.
Where it's strength. He's not the guy who flushes Van Dyke, but he's the one who collects the check.
Yeah.
But it was, I'm going to shed.
Well, remember he did that exact same thing to Howell and planted him.
Correct.
Because he doesn't give up on plays.
Which is what we love about this. He embodies everything we like about this program right now. Where, I mean, even his background, you think about it.
Oh,
he's in the
Minnesota,
middle of nowhere.
Then Kansas, Georgia, here, yeah.
He said that at ACC kickoff. I was there covering that event. And he said, when you're in the middle of nowhere, that creates a fire inside.
Oh, yeah.
I was in JUCO.
I have to get out of the middle of nowhere.
I've never seen the place I've been. Like, I'm living here. I'm like, where am I at JUCO? And he found his way out of it, man. And he has been an absolute godsend for this program. Without him, we don't win that football game, plain and simple.
Fun couple weeks, fun time right now to watch Florida State build here. You saw Florida give up 42 points to an FCS school in the first half and broke a record there. And, they go on to score 70, but they gave up 52. So all of a sudden you're emboldened about the possibility, if they're that disinterested in stopping anybody, of maybe winning a game that you kind of chalked up as a loss. I think this Boston College game is going to be tough. They played well. They're getting good quarterback play. I kind of first guessed that this weekend. You're going to have to show up and play well. You can win that game, of course.
But it's a new kind of test.
It is a different kind of test. Yeah. No, listen, I like this group because I can trust that they'll play hard. I like this group because I can trust that they'll be invested in each play. So we'll find out. It's going to be fun. Tell you what, people will love to point to situations where a coach might get it going sooner than ours has got it going here, right? And they'll be like, well, how come this is happening there? How come this is happening there? And then they don't want to go circumstance by circumstance or situations that are different. Can you imagine today being, just as an aside, a Texas fan? 5 straight losses for the first time in over 60 years. Everybody told the world how good a hire Sark was. Oh, they suddenly forget how to coach? They just lost to Kansas. You know the last time Kansas won a road conference game, Tom? 2008.
I was going to guess Charlie Strong in Texas.
2008. Yeah. Chef Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
News now.
A young man has died after falling 7 stories out of an apartment complex in College Town Saturday night. The incident happened in the 600 block of South Woodward Avenue just before 11 p.m. TBD added that preliminary findings determined the incident was not the result of a criminal act. This is an open and active investigation. No further details are available at this time. Lawmakers are gearing up for a special session on vaccine and mask mandates set to begin today. 3 key pieces of legislation are in play. The biggest agenda item will require businesses to provide exemptions from any employee vaccine mandate. Violations come with fines between $10,000 and $50,000. There's also a proposal to create the state's own version of OSHA as a response to the federal OSHA vaccine mandate that spurred the special session in the first place. The third bill would remove the Surgeon General's emergency powers to require vaccinations during a health emergency. Lawmakers have 5 days to work out all the details. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Ample sunshine expected this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 70. North winds around 5 miles per hour. Lows level off around 47 tonight. Clear skies, sunny skies and calm tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 74. Dry with temperatures above average Wednesday and Thursday and highs in the upper 70s. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 63.
The weather is unpredictable and can cause issues around your home. Weston Trawick provides commercial, residential, and industrial electrical wiring services, yearly inspections on fire alarms, portable generator sales, and so much more. With 24/7 emergency service and repair, Weston Trawick will be your calm in the storm. Give them a call at 514-0003. Weston Trawick, professional electrical services day or night. Visit online at westontrawick.com.
If you weren't the owner of Gordo's and all those wonderful restaurants in it, what would you be doing?
You know, I think I'd want to be I don't know what I'd want to be, a boat captain or a cowboy.
You know how to use a lasso?
No.
You'd have to do that if you were a cowboy.
Yeah, but I've never even been on a horse. It's not my place to be on a horse.
I agree. And the horse thanks you. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
It's Congressman Michael Waltz on the Greg Tish Show.
Good morning, Congressman. How are you doing?
Hey, doing well.
Again, just what you have to go through day in and day out. I don't know how you have hair left, or like Matty Rowe, just completely bald.
Hey!
Sorry.
And the irony of it all, the progressives are the tail wagging the dog. This whole bipartisan White House is a joke. We're just watching them eat their own.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. The Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Contributions to the Jeff Cameron Show here. He did so in honor of a hero unsung, Mr. Amarian Cooper, for playing out of his mind this week. And he did play great, didn't he? I think they got us one. We got us one. Woo! Got us a guy. Yeah, man. Played with confidence. Played, listen, that is something else that we can touch on here. There's so many things about this particular game that has me buoyed about where we're headed. There was an immediacy, a suddenness. There was a foot in the ground, triggering downhill defensive mindset in the pass game, Tom. We said on the pregame show, I felt like we were getting somewhere with this group as we were settling in on certain guys that we could trust. Robinson makes a big play. Cooper makes a big play. You know, look,
Akeem Dent with a big hit.
Akeem Dent with a big hit. There are guys that are responding. They are responding. They're playing better. They're playing with more confidence. They're hitting, that's for sure. They really kind of hit all year long. They have shown up and hit. unlike last year's group. They will ride up there and hit you.
From the first quarter of Notre Dame, you're going, ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Bring your lunch.
Yeah, that was good. So they will come up and hit you. You know, a kid that I root for, he had a long night, and it's unfortunate, and we've said it too many times, but I just root for him because I like him. I think he plays with extreme heart and passion and power, and he is very physical. He's just got to get better as Brownlee. And I like him so much. I mean, he cares deeply. He does. If he can find a way to summon a little bit more in coverage skill, we can get something out of him. I know people pick on him and they dislike him, and he is the victim of some things, and I can't deny that. But if everybody played with the same passion he did, we'd be all right.
Yeah, the 4th and 6 is tough because you allow Rambo to cut into the middle of the field. That's probably the great sin there rather than a back shoulder fade.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just about the leverage of it. But the throw off the goal line, what are you supposed to do? What's he supposed to do with the throw from Van Dyke? I mean, that's a perfect play.
It's a perfect play, yeah. It's a perfect play.
There were a couple of those. You know, Kevin Knowles had some moments that he liked back.
But he's
on
a good
Saturday,
player.
But he's also a good player.
He's going to be all right. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch these kids develop. They got some guys there now, and they're about to get a commit from, we think, the best player in the country. Also, they'll be able to plug and play in that secondary. So, you know, that will help.
Yeah, those videos of him in the locker room.
Doesn't suck.
Yeah,
Doesn't suck.
With Jermaine Johnson breaking the rock, you could see it. It's like the torch is being passed, my man.
Well, and the guy that we're talking about, and Travis Hunter, if it happens, he'll be here for more than a year. That's helpful.
He has to be.
He has to be. That's correct.
You are forced.
That will be a good thing. Glorious thing indeed. Man, Saturday was a weird day. I'm just so glad we came out on the right end because I'm sitting there watching Oklahoma get beat by Baylor, which really puts the Big 12 in a bad position. I'm starting to think they got no chance of getting anybody into the college football playoff after that loss. Some things continue to break right for Cincinnati in that way, although they have yet to look good the last 4 weeks. Then you had, I mentioned the aforementioned Texas game. They blow it. As a 31-point favorite, they lose at home. By the way, the kid that caught the 2-point conversion, a freshman walk-on fullback who had never played in a college football game till that night. Come on, Texas. What are we doing?
Were you watching that game with interest?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I just like to watch Texas lose. But, I mean, that's really remarkable.
Usually when one knows details such as that.
No, I'm sitting there in shock. I mean, you can't lose to Kansas at home. You can't. And the Kansas fans who made the trip, which you talk about loyal, chanting SEC for the whole stadium to hear, that's a touch of class.
How about Kansas showing up for the Oklahoma game, showing up for Texas out of nowhere?
So they hired the Buffalo coach, the guy that built up that Buffalo program, Impioli or something like that. I got to double check his name. I got that wrong, but he's a good coach. Their game. If he can hang in there.
Kansas's game.
No, I'm saying he's a good coach. He's already got them playing a lot better than they were. They're already making strides, obviously. I'm just thinking on a day in which we get a huge win and you feel like it's a program builder. You're looking around. Miami's reeling. Florida's reeling. Texas is reeling. Oklahoma loses to Baylor. They're out of the playoff run. You just, again, every week you're kind of like, okay. There's a lot of stuff going on here. Thanks, Brad. Jeff, it's been a long time since a big win and a hearty hour number 2, which in my opinion, paired with Fire a Woman by the Colt, is one of the best moments in sports radio. Do this one right, brother. Scalp him. Thanks, Brad. I will do this one right. It will be a hearty hour number 2, and it'll be a celebratory hour number 2. Everything about this week is gravy. I mean, as we build towards the BC game, eventually we'll have to turn our attention to that game. But right now, no. You bask in the glory. You revel in the joy of getting a win like this. I've said this before. When we blocked the extra point, one of the reasons that I loved that win, the block at the Rock against Miami, wasn't because the stakes were high, because the pain was immense. Because they had to wear not a loss, but a loss that is unimaginable. They score that touchdown. They're euphoric. They're embracing one another in the stands as they do the hoppy hop in firm belief that is going to be their win for the taking. And just like that, grand opening, grand closing. Just like that, it's over. And this was a win that they most assuredly thought they had. And to the young man who decided to walk from the little tunnel coming out from the concession stand to then turn and go up to his seat in his Miami garb, which, bless your heart, you made the roadie. Good on you. No problem with that. We welcome all fans. But then to clap in the face of an older woman, no doubt season ticket holder for many a moon, and do so up 8, feeling very good about yourself. Tom, it was the kind of patience that only an older man with perspective has, I decided not to say anything in that moment. I was going to wait it out to see if he moved along, but he was an ass in that moment. But I did scout his seat. I did wait to see where he sat down, and I did pay close attention. And so it was that as we were funneling out of the stadium, he just so happened to be right there, and I did go like this in his grill, much to his dismay, as he looked on in shock, like, who is this stranger? Who's this guy clapping in my face? And it was a beautiful, beautiful moment. So I got a little taste of the old school rivalry in that moment as well.
So it was a Jalen Ramsey-esque moment for you?
Oh, it was good.
That was 2014.
And he wanted none of it. He just kept looking straight ahead, kind of bewildered. But he was also surrounded by euphoric Florida State fans who were having a little fun.
So he clapped in the face of an old lady.
Yes, and her husband.
Man.
Mm-hmm. So I waited.
That's up there. So you waited. Yeah,
So I waited.
That's a very foreboding few words. So I waited.
Yeah.
You know, that's usually nothing's good. So I waited.
Well, I mean, are you kidding me?
Yeah, that reminds me of when I was a student at the Palace, and a couple Miami fans got down on their knees towards a toddler.
I was about to say, hey now.
Towards a toddler, and gave the toddler a double birth.
A toddler?
Yes.
They're lucky they didn't get stomped
No
out.
older than 3 years old.
They're really lucky they didn't get stomped out in that moment. That's, I mean, you're at the Palace. People can get stomped out.
Oh, I've.
No, I mean,
yeah. Maybe for another edition of the show. It's not that day. It was a Gator fan.
Yeah.
His chin might have met the bar. Maybe the stool is taken out underneath him.
Yeah.
Because you know what? I would like to think most people will warn you. They'll give you a warning. This
They're
guy
like,
got a
hey,
warning.
yeah, you're a little out of line yourself. Right.
You're a little out of line
You're
yourself.
a little out of line yourself. But listen, you know what I'm always amazed by? So when I go to any other facility, any other university, any other place to watch a game, yeah, sure, I'm going to have my Florida State gear on. I'm going as a fan, whatever it might be, right? But I know where I am.
Oh, absolutely.
I know, don't overdo it. Don't overstep your bounds. You can cheer for your team, but why would you taunt an old cut? What's the point of that?
Buddy, I wore Mets gear to the Lightning Islanders game. I know what the hell those people are like Jersey Shore people. That part of Long Island is the same as the Jersey Shore. Man, you're outnumbered.
Yeah, you got to know where you are. It's crazy. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant.
For the Kraft Brothers dealerships. We've experienced a couple of blockbuster months recently. What does that mean to you? It means we have a whole lot of quality pre-owned vehicles. And just when there are rumors about high prices on pre-owned cars, you guessed it. At Kraft Nissan and Infinity, we are discounting every single pre-owned car, truck, and SUV on our lot. Instead of Dad dreaming of a new truck or SUV, why not bring him out to the Kraft Brothers lot on Mahan Drive to look at SUVs and trucks? Match what he wants. Kraft Pre-Owned has dozens of Toyotas, some Ford F-150s, and Ram 1500s. And of course, we have a big supply of Infiniti and Nissan vehicles. If we don't have what you're looking for, we will do our level best to find the car you want. Let other dealers charge you too much for pre-owned cars. Kraft Nissan and Infiniti are saying right now is the best time of the year to save on a quality pre-owned vehicle. Kraft Nissan and Infiniti of Tallahassee on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco. And remember, if the car you are looking for doesn't have the Kraft tag on it, you'll pay too much, way too much.
Applications, onboarding, payroll, termination. Business owners and managers, these are the processes that take away too much time from what you do best. But what if there was a locally owned, responsive solution that would charge you a fraction of the big national payroll companies? Sound too good to be true? It's not. North Florida Payroll Services is Tallahassee owned for nearly 15 years. And in that time, their prices have never changed. The reason North Florida Payroll Services can do that? Exceptional customer service that constantly evolves with the latest technology. From application to termination, for turnkey service for your payroll and HR services, trust a Tallahassee expert and save yourself time and money. North Florida Payroll Services. Online at northfloridapayroll.com.
Clean, renewable energy means fresher air, healthier residents, new green jobs, and a stronger, more resilient community. How we get there is up to you. Share your input today to help shape the Tallahassee of tomorrow. Take the Clean Energy Survey at talgov.com.
This is Dr. James Ryan Finn from Finn Chiropractic, and the holiday insanity is upon us. It's Halloween, it's Thanksgiving, it's Christmas, it's New Year's, and oh my gosh, Valentine's Day is around the corner. Well, don't wait to Valentine's Day to give yourself some love. Come to Finn Chiropractic. Let us get to the cause of your headaches, neck pain, back pain, numbness, and tingling before the holiday insanity takes its toll. Contact us at finnchiro.com. That's FENNCHIRO.com, because your chiropractor loves you and there's nothing you can do about it.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT. Greta, Tallahassee.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. President Biden with a busy day ahead. Next hour, he's scheduled to sign the bipartisan infrastructure bill into law at the White House. Then this evening, the president and China's Xi Jinping will hold their much-anticipated virtual summit. U.S. Senator Patrick Leahy of Vermont says he will not seek re-election next year. Bob Agnew has the report.
At 81, Leahy has served 8 terms in the upper chamber. He currently holds the Senate's second highest position, Senate Pro Tem. Democrats remain optimistic they can hold on to Leahy's seat next year. A confident Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee notes in a statement, quote, Vermont is a blue state that has not elected a Republican to statewide federal office in more than 20 years. Leahy is the first Democrat to announce he won't run next year. That compares to 5 GOP incumbents who say they'll retire from public office in 2022. Bob Agnew reporting.
Also at townhall.com, closing arguments at Kyle Rittenhouse's murder trial have begun in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Rittenhouse, now 18, killed 2 men and wounded a third during a night of protest in the summer of 2020. The young man from Antioch, Illinois, faces a mandatory life in prison if convicted of the most serious charge against him, first-degree intentional homicide. Retirees take a big hit in 2022.
Medicare's Part B outpatient premium will jump by $21.60 to $170.10 a month beginning January 1st, one of the largest increases ever. Officials say a new Alzheimer's drug is responsible for about half that. The increase guarantees healthcare costs will gobble up a big chunk of the recently announced cost of living allowance, a boost that had worked out to about $92 a month on average. The announcement on premiums comes as Congress is considering Democrat legislation that would curb what Medicare pays for medications. Ron DeRockstra reporting.
The Dow is up 14 points, but the Nasdaq is down 56. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Why are cash-out refinances such a big deal right now? Uncle Ryan tries to teach me something.
I really feel like right now might be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I've been doing this for 18 years now, and I've just never seen a market where the rates are so low and values across the country have skyrocketed as much as they have. That combination, I remember one couple in particular, they were looking to do some home improvements at the house, but they were worried about their payments going up. Well, with rates being so low, and them building up so much equity in the home over the last few years, we were able to get them to cash out for those home improvements, and their payments actually went down a little bit. Every single situation is different, but it does happen more often than you think. So it definitely does not hurt to call.
We are United Faith Mortgage.
United Faith Mortgage is a DBA of United Mortgage Corp. 25 Middle Park Road, Milton, New York. Licensed mortgage banker. For all licensing information, go to nmlsconsumeraccess.org. Corporate NMLS number 1330. Equal housing lender. License in Alaska, Hawaii, Georgia, Massachusetts, North Dakota, South Dakota, or Utah.
Where is the best place to find Michelin, Firestone, Dunlop, Goodyear, and Bridgestone tires? Nice Tire and Auto Service. Where's the best full-service auto center? Nice Tire and Auto Service. They do everything from computerized alignments to brakes, tune-ups, and safety inspections. Where can you get complete auto service you can trust? That's easy. Nice Tire and Auto Service. 4792 Bluntstown Highway, just west of Capitol Circle.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com. The Noles did, obviously getting a much-needed win, a feather in the cap, a signature win, if you will, for Mike Norvell and staff. Good on you, kids. That's the way to fight. And now what's possible? I don't know. You feel a lot better about what's possible with what remains, the next 2 games, certainly, but also, most importantly, I think, for all of us is the impact that this may have had, and we'll find out more in the coming days and weeks, but may have had in recruiting. And what a good time for that to happen, because that was a large contingent of the recruits and recruiting classes of the future that were in the house, and no doubt had a great time. You know, I did say before this game, in the build-up to it, that I had the chance to just go as a fan, just to go as a Nole and scream my head off and not be worried about the analyst role. I was going to handle that on Sunday and rewatch the game anyhow. So much easier, as you well know, to rewatch a win than it is to watch a loss, especially if it would have been the way this game played out, heartbreaking, right? Instead, each time you sit through the frustration, each time you're watching that, okay, things are bad right now, but they're going to get better. I know how this story ends, so I'm going to continue to watch and see what happens. Somebody pointed it out this morning. I saw it on Twitter during the after the ACC posted the video of the 4th and 14 conversion to Parchment. That if you watch FSU's offensive line there, those kids are blocking as if their life depended on it. It is fun to slow-mo. It is a whole lot of no, sir. No, sir. You are not effing this up for me. We are going to get this pass off. And so it really is. It's glorious. There's a whole lot of what for on that play.
If we drop it, it's not on me.
No. Yeah, I will not be responsible.
Not because he couldn't step up and deliver,
right?
Which he did.
Yes, one of the best throws he's made. He's made some good throws, but that's a. I mean, you got to figure the amount of pressure in that moment. Think about how nervous you are. Now, I've always said that when you're playing in games in any sport, team or even singular, when you're immersed in executing a play, you do allow for yourself to avoid the certain emotions that you have when you have no control. So like fans, we as fans have no control over the outcome, and so it just adds to the angst. It adds to the pressure because you can't do anything to help anybody. But when you're a player, a lot of times you can avoid that feeling of overwhelming doubt or nerves because you don't have time to think. You hear the play call. This is my responsibility on this play. If I do that, then hopefully everything will work out. The problem is quarterbacks really you just have to develop a skill. And I never played quarterback, but I always admired those who do, because that, along with kicker, requires you to be able to ignore those feelings of nerves and doubt and still execute. You have to find a way. Golfers do this all the time. You have to find a way to do that. So even though you could be a position player anywhere on that field and think my job on this play is to do this, and you're not thinking about the magnitude, at quarterback, I've got to see it. I got to release it. I got to be confident in what I'm looking at. I got to believe it. And, man, that's the best part of watching Jordan Travis in that moment. He ain't scared. He's not scared at all.
Well, he gave you about 10 plays, maybe more, but I mean about 10 real honest-to-goodness plays where he proved that he wasn't scared. And one of them was a run in the first half.
Yeah.
Where it looked like a Sam Howell run that I said probably wasn't going to happen, because if you remember all the rush yards that Howell racked up against Miami, was broken tackles.
Yeah.
Well, he did that at midfield.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah.
So you're going to do that. Then, in a weird way, the throw to Parchment gave me more hope that it could be done, because that throw is perfect. I'm talking not about 4th and 14. I'm talking about the one in which Parchment stops running for no reason. That throw is dead perfect in a moment where everything is against you, and that Jordan could summon it to make that throw gave me hope that if we're in a position again, he can make the play. And he did, man.
Couple of announcements to make here real quick, just to take care of business and get it out there for everybody. Both of the next 2 football games for Florida State will kick off at noon. That is a noon game against Boston College. Good. That is a noon game against the University of Florida. Good. Non-night games on the road? Yes, please. I'd prefer those sleepy nooners. Nothing to see here. Why even go? It's Thanksgiving week. You guys stay on home. You let these kids go out there and do their thing. Watch it from the comfort of your own home. Talk to Uncle Frank. Hang out. It's all good. Let us worry about it.
It's possible again. It's possible again to
it's
go
possible
6
to
and
go
6.
to a bowl. Yeah, it is. It is possible again. And, all I can think about right now is, again, finding a way. Ordinarily, you talk about this after a loss. Now you legitimately have to talk about it after a huge win. You've got to regain control and focus of your emotions. You've got to find a way to start prepping and really locking in on what has to be done, because Boston College is good enough to beat you. Boston College is favored. Boston College is a team that that if you don't go play well against, you could lose very easily. So we're not good enough yet to overlook anybody. Said that in the last hour. We are good enough to win this game, and I think, given the way Florida played over the weekend, we'll see if they're interested. It's a rivalry game. I have a feeling they'll show up, but you never know. So take care of this game Saturday, and then let the nerves be ratcheted up about the possibility of what lies in wait in Gainesville, because then you're right. You go win that game, and the two sides will be motivated in very different ways. No matter how Florida, can convince itself that this is a rivalry game and they should care, their body language and actions suggest otherwise lately. I know our players can't worry about that, but from afar, we can look at it and say,
If you parlay this into a win on the road at Boston College, you're staring 6-2 in the face, a 6-2 finish to the season, in which Clemson scores a go-ahead touchdown in the waning moments, and you lost to NC State in a close one.
Yeah, you're down 7 late in the game
with your backup quarterback in, without Jordan Travis, and you combine that with the loss to Notre Dame in overtime and the J-State game that you lose flukishly on the final play. How close are you to having a really, really good season that, yes, it might be smoke and mirrors. It might be because of the relative skill level of the ACC and a down year for Florida and a down year for – think about that. You'd be on the precipice of finishing 6-2, and you could pitch it to kids, which is the most important thing. I don't care how we feel about it, the fans. It's how do the recruits feel about it. You could pitch them 6-6, and look how close we were to 8-4 or 9-3. Look how close. And you can be the difference. What I care about is compelling cases to be made to 17 and 18-year-olds, because they're the ones who are going to get us to a place where it's not shocking to beat Miami. It is expected to beat Miami again.
Yeah, man. I think the way you talk about a season that ends at 5-7 or 6-6 always has more to do with A, what was the preseason expectation, and B, how did you end? Because those are the final nuggets. Those are the kernels. Those are the last things that you can remember viewing, taking in, watching. And so this win perhaps is the catalyst for 1, maybe 2 more wins. But if you get another win, Tom, I just don't know that. There's a part of me already that says, okay, I'll be all right, because they are definitively better. They've positively impacted what's possible with the recruiting class. Clearly they're making strides. They ended a losing streak to Miami. And we know that they really kind of made something out of nothing here to some extent. I'm not trying to be little players, but I'm saying they don't have the depth of talent that they need to sustain great efforts every week. And yet you get those efforts, you don't always get the execution. So they're on the way.
Well, we were begging for it, saying it's not illegal to do this in September. Kids playing over their heads and believing and playing as one, because that team, the kind of team that we are right now, has played a lot of football games in Doak Campbell over the last 20 years. And whether or not they won the football game outright, we said, man, they don't have any reason to be in this game, or they don't have any reason to be as good as they seem to be week in and week out. We know how talented they are compared to Florida State. They don't have the same bodies and players and athletic types. Miami has to think about us like that today, because they are more athletic. They are more talented, but we're more well-coached. We're more together.
Did you guys do yourself a favor and have some fun with it? Because people have done this at our expense. So now it's your time to not only have a result on the field, so it's not total schadenfreude because you got a result. You got to win. Miami is the loser here. But you get to also really enjoy the spoils of that by going to State of the U or whatever website you'd like to go to read the Miami fans turn on one another with great fury and anger, the kinds of ungodly statements about Manny and his family. It is something to behold.
So what I'll tell you is, for those of you who were gallivanting after the game was over and you didn't make your way over to Warchant TV for the postgame show, if you were here for the pregame show, you saw there was a lot of orange and green in the chat.
A lot of it.
And they said they'd be back for the postgame show. I unfortunately have to report to you that
They didn't make it back?
Nary a Kane
They
fan.
didn't make it back.
And there were thousands of people watching. Among them were not trash-talking Miami fans who were ever present late in the week last week and certainly during the pregame show. I don't know what happened to them, but we'll find out.
Well, what happened to them was distant stares, long, long moments of despair and thoughts about another year in the books, another year of absolute irrelevance. And while I like to make fun of Florida State, they beat us today with a lesser team, and they've got a recruiting class in the hook that we don't. We've also been, as Miami, irrelevant for 20 years. They've only been irrelevant for about the last 4 or 5. Times are tough here in Miami and just made tougher after Saturday. That's what they did.
Right.
They sat around thinking about the implications.
Yeah, 4 words. They're going to pass us. I would add a 5th again.
Again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you can have fun with the making it back before the U. Again. Yeah. Cheers. Weird Saturday. All the more appreciated as I let the night kind of wash over me and my dad and the kids. We sat around watching the night football games, watched Jimbo lose to Ole Miss. Boy, owned by the state of Mississippi at $10 million a year is a toughie. But I did sit around thinking about all of the other results. I thought about how it was that Auburn led 28-3 and then watched Mississippi State come back and beat them in what is a record comeback. I then thought about a team on the wrong end of a 62-yard field goal. Iowa State watched as a college kid made a 62-yard field goal to beat them at the buzzer. And by the way, that was outdoors. That wasn't indoors. 62 yards of suck it. That is unreal. The pain in their hearts. I watched as, again, Texas loses as a 31-point favorite to a team that hadn't won a conference road game since 2008. I thought about that too. And then I also thought about this, Tom, because I did not have money on it. But for those who did, God bless you. Boise State, Wyoming, with the score 23-7. Did you see this?
No.
Wyoming completes a pass with 16 seconds to go. It is a 4-yard screen pass that turns into a 74-yard touchdown. 6 meaningless points unless you had Boise given as time expired. This is a dangerous game we play, my friend.
It is. Well, I can tell you the best wager I made on Saturday was to cash out early on the Miami money line because I just woke up. I'm like, nope, this
can't do it.
It doesn't feel right.
Can't do it.
It
I don't
doesn't
like
feel
it.
right, and that was a good investment. Also, after the post-game show, in which I opened up some single malt, Lefroy Cardias, which is just delightful.
Delicious. I love it.
I ride share my way around town to the CP just to see some friends and take
enjoy your moment.
Well, because that's the thing. I'm in like an isolation chamber that is my home for these games because we do the pregame show. I go home, and then I've got the game on the TV, and I'm also taking highlights. I'm ripping video highlights, and the postgame show is my office. So I couldn't be around the people. I wanted to be around it for a little bit, and that's where, as a citizen of the city, real quick, I'll brag. This city really needed that, man. It needed that shot in the arm. What it's going to do for the spring, what it's going to do for next fall, next football season, what it did on Saturday night for a lot of local businesses, including the aforementioned Corner Pocket. I mean, my God, the stressed look on the bartender's face has said it all, man. This is a big moment for the program, for the city, for a lot of people.
You know what else you have to do, Tom, that you didn't get an opportunity to do? Thanks to our friend Chris in San Diego, you got to enjoy with me a sip of the Dos Artes.
I saw the bottle.
Oh, what
Somebody
a bottle
sent me a
it is.
screenshot of the bottle. Yeah,
it's a pretty bottle.
That was quite the smash.
It was a tasty sampling of the Dos Artes.
I can't wait.
Sunday night.
And to Christopher, I'm sorry, man. There were some extenuating circumstances. Maybe they weren't the worst things in the world. Sometimes extenuating circumstances are negative. Sometimes you're doing a single malt Scotch flight to support the people at the place we were all at. But thank you so much, as always, to him and to so many people this weekend for donating to the cause or just stopping by and sharing some stories, man. This has felt like it used to feel for at least a little bit of time.
It's a great feeling. Yep. Revel in it. Enjoy it. Let it wash over you yet again. And if you can, enjoy some Dos Artes tequila. My goodness gracious, was that tasty last night. Enjoyed it. I know some were unsettled by their fragile sensibilities, but everybody else enjoyed it, and that was fun. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Wooden Glass has been taking care of families since 1945.
Experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best, like Wooden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Wooden Glass, and they provide precise installation.
Wooden Glass, Tallahassee's first family in glass. Online at woodenglass.com. Call 850-222-5781.
Our partners at ISF know you want to do amazing things. You have big ideas and goals for the future. For over 40 years, ISF has focused on solving the future for state government through strategy, process, and technology. As a national management and IT consulting firm, ISF has the expertise to transform strategies, refine processes, and implement solutions to lead you in today's changing environment. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Parker Brothers Roofing says don't play games with your roof. Protect your home and your family. The Parker Brothers tell you the truth. If it's your roof, cause it's what we do. With quality, integrity, and pride. Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
At Parker Brothers Roofing, we understand that the decision to get a new roof is a big investment. It's an investment in building equity, an investment in your future, and an investment in the safety of you and your family in the event of a major storm. At Parker Brothers Roofing, we make it easy with free estimates, affordable financing, and professional installation every time since 1995. Visit ParkerBrothersRoofing.net today.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
Hi, I'm Andy Cohen with Florida Farm Bureau Insurance. When I was a law enforcement officer, I devoted my life to a career of service and protection. And as an agent with Florida Farm Bureau, I'm continuing that promise. Farm Bureau Insurance has been protecting what matters most for over 75 years. Your home, your auto, your family, your life. Who's protecting you? Give me a call, 850-671-FARM. That's 671-FARM. At Florida Farm Bureau Insurance, helping you is what we do best.
When the forgotten poor are in need of healing, they wait for a ship unlike any other. Mercy Ships, a floating hospital staffed by volunteers, heroes of mercy who donate their time to save lives.
Every human has the right to have a place at the table of the human race.
If you could just see the smiles that you get when lives have been changed, then it would make it all worth it.
To learn more about Heroes of Mercy, go to mercyships.org.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit beefy, or even with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Affordable term life insurance is out there. Call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-481-1458, 800-481-1458, or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training.
I hear music more for the music than the lyrics. I have to really think to hear the lyrics. Just the way my brain
I do
works.
both, but if I'm listening to Van Halen, it's not for the lyrics. I can tell you that. Some roofing companies say they're the best in town with the best price around, and safety is their top priority, but they don't always have your best interest at heart. T-Spark Enterprises Roofing and Construction. They believe in doing things the right way and the safe way. Employees undergo routine safety training and are constantly being educated on new techniques and new materials like becoming master metal applicators. Hey now, love it. Have you considered a new metal roof before? Long-lasting and durable? You're in luck because T-Spark Enterprises Roofing and Construction are the best in town, period. Call them today at 766-1340 or get a free quote today at tsparkconstruction.com. Irashfel, warchant.com. Go read the stuff. All the stuff. It's good. Warchant.com. Hello, Ira. How are you, brother?
I'm good, Jeff. How are you?
I'm in a real good mood, man. I'm in a real good mood. I think we all are. I think for a lot of reasons. For me as a Nole, it's very satisfying. But also, we kind of talked about it all year long, going all the way back to camp, and things didn't work out when the season started. But we really thought that they were making strides. We really thought Mike Norvell was a good coach. I know you tweeted as much and wrote about it. And then when they weren't getting the results, you thought, man, this is going to just take even longer, and the fans will grow impatient, and understandably, because it sucks to lose games. Then they made some mistakes, and you thought that was a huge setback. But I really always liked these kids because they did fight in every game. They really always brought it physically. They were always invested mentally. They prepared well. You're at every practice, Ira. You've seen it. They invest. They care. They get back up. So you always want to see teams like that get their moment. And you wrote about that too just a week ago. You wanted to see this group, some of the transfers, guys like Jermaine Johnson and others, get one more crack at shining in the sun, right? And there it was. I was really happy for those kids Saturday night.
Yeah, it was cool, man. The whole scene, was cool at the moment. But you're right. I mean, this is so much bigger than one win. And not because it, obviously stopping the streak with Miami is big. You don't want to have one of these losing streaks in the rivalry, even though that's what that rivalry is. It seems like one team wins and wins 5 or 6 in a row, and the other one has to wait to turn it back around. But from a standpoint of, just the people, I've never questioned whether or not the players buy in at all. As you said, I mean, these guys fight every week. They believe in what they're doing. It hasn't always worked out, but the buy-in is there from the players. I just felt like the fan base was really having a tough time going through what everybody's gone through these last 4 or 5 years, where you've gone through 3 coaches. People start wondering, is this the right guy? Is this the wrong guy? Do we make another mistake? And I'm not going to spend all my money and time to come back out there if they're not going to play any better. We've seen traffic drop off on our website. We've seen traffic drop down on videos, and I'm sure your audience, some people check out. So this is big because it gives them a chance if they could, certainly if they can at least win 1 or 2 more of these last games, but even just what they did this game, I think it gives people reason to be excited going into next year and to feel like there's real tangible proof. Because up until this point, most of the proof has been, as you said, just kind of looking behind the scores. Now they actually have a score to go with, the North Carolina game as well, where it shows validation. I think that's going to be important for them going into the offseason and trying to sell tickets and everything else going into next year.
You could see the relief, too, to some extent on the faces of this coaching staff. And, because they've cared deeply about the kids. And Kenny Dillingham being emotional today, it's all really cool to watch because I think one thing's for sure, and most people know this, but it's good to get a reminder every now and again. I never coached in college, and I've only done a little bit of coaching in my lifetime. But you when you invest in something and you care and you ask kids in this case, or young men in this case, to do something every day and commit to a certain thing that you're proposing. And when they do that, you want to see them have success. And when they don't, it hurts you deeply because you know it's the right thing, you believe in it, but you need to see them have success. And I think that's why this staff looked relieved or emotional, was they really like these kids because they have responded to that ask.
Yeah, and I mean, I think there's probably no better example. There's a bunch of examples, but probably no better example than Jordan Travis. I think Jordan Travis, if you look at his college journey, comes out of high school, goes to Louisville, and basically is beaten down there. I mean, he was not treated well there. It was a toxic situation. He looks to get out of there. The reason he got the waiver, because he transferred before this one-time transfer policy, the reason he got the waiver to be eligible to play in 2019 at FSU was because it was such a bad situation at Louisville. he gets to Florida State, and it's another bad situation with Willie Taggart. He ends up getting fired, and then he gets a new coaching staff that he didn't sign to play for, and his confidence was shaken, and people doubted him and did question whether or not he could play the position. And then this coaching staff, and to your point, Kenny Dillingham particularly, went to him and was like, look, man, I believe in you more than you believe in you. You can do this. You can get better. You can become a quarterback. And to see that kid step in and make those throws, I mean, just the way Mike Norvell talked about today and Kenny Dillingham as well, on that 4th and 14, when they're, Miami is only rushing 3 guys, but their guys get upfield. And it's easy at that moment when you're as athletic as Jordan Travis to just take off, just try to make something happen. But to sit back and step up in the pocket and make that throw before the receivers really come out of his break, it just shows a lot. Now, we can't say it's turned the corner and he's going to be perfect from here on out. But to see a guy that didn't believe in himself get to the point where he can have the confidence to make that play, it really is what coaching's all about.
Yeah, and they found some guys too. We've talked about Jermaine Johnson and some of the other guys up front. But Cooper looks like a player now. And, obviously we've talked a lot about Robinson, but they've got guys developing on the back end that we're starting to get excited about as well. And you look at this potential for the recruiting class. There's reason to be excited. Ira, let me ask you really quick on that front. I know Michael Langston's doing reporting on this, warchant.com, but maybe secondhand you can let us know. I mean, obviously all reports seem to be that this was a very, very, very good night for Florida State in their recruiting efforts.
Yeah, there's no question. And I don't, again, it would have been great if a bunch of kids just announced commitments on the spot, but I do think that they got really positive feedback from a lot of these recruits who were on campus, and they had a great time. I think it solidified things with the guys who may have been thinking twice a little bit, and I think it probably opened up some eyes for some other guys as well. I do think they're going to finish strong, and I think that the Travis Hunters and AJ Duffy's and the relationships they built with the other recruits is really promising. So yeah, man, I think it was huge. And Mike Norvell, man, I'm writing about this in something I'm writing about. He's not afraid, man. He made these 2 weekends, Notre Dame and Miami, his huge opportunities to win over recruits, and they delivered in both games. They didn't get a win against Notre Dame, but they delivered. And to have the confidence to do that, it's pretty telling about Mike Norvell's mindset, because he could have picked other weekends to bring those guys to games, and he chose those 2.
Your thoughts really quickly. We haven't touched on it today because we've wanted to, quite frankly, enjoy the win and celebrate the moment. But Florida State's win streak over Florida in basketball came to a crashing end in a game where they really struggled, I think, to stay in front of Florida's quickness in the backcourt. There were some signs that they've got a lot to work on. It's 2 games into the season. I'm certainly not panicking, but I do worry that the bigs aren't ready, and you're going to have some problems there. What were your thoughts on what you saw in that loss to Florida?
Well, you're gonna make fun of me when I say that Tenor Nagam might have been a difference, Jeff. He will help. He will help when he comes back.
Yeah,
he's an older guy. He would help. He's been out a little bit. But no, I just think it was going to be a tough matchup no matter what. Florida State, a lot of their better players are young guys. Florida brought in a bunch of grad transfers. They're a senior-laden team with a bunch of older dudes who played a lot of college basketball. They were playing at home. I think they got FSU in a good spot early in the season. And I also thought my man from Houston,
Caleb Mills.
Yeah, Caleb Mills getting in foul trouble early was really, really painful, because when he got back in, not because of what it did in the first half, he ended up leading at the end of the first half, but what it did, I thought it sped him up in the second half. He felt like he had to go make plays and make up for all the time he missed in the first half, and I thought he forced some things and wasn't as comfortable. I thought that hurt. But yeah, man, Florida's going to be a good team. I think they're going to be a solid team, but I think Florida State's going to be a whole lot better a couple months down the road than they look today.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. Appreciate it, brother. I'll talk to you again real soon. Be good.
Thanks, Jeff Seaman.
Yep. For those that don't know it, it was 44-43 Noles with 11 minutes to play. So it wasn't like this game got out of hand or anything like that. They let it to break. They hung in there. But, yeah, Caleb Mills had 2 fouls in the first 3 minutes of the game. And we know how Leonard is with those situations. He's going to pull them, especially a guy like that, a young guy like that on the road. And he was probably the only guard that I saw that had the ability to win off the bounce. Florida's quick in the backcourt, and they defended well, and we didn't stay in front of their guys nearly as well. And I do think, to Ira's point, I think Ngam could have helped you. A lot of Florida State's bigs, like in terms of the 7-footers, they're not ready to win in terms of strength down low. You got some finesse players that, guys that tall can always alter shots, but they don't set up shop in the post to dominate offensively. That's not who they are. In fact, a couple of their guys are actually shooters away from the basket. So that's a bit of a problem for your 7-footers. I mean, ideally that's not what you want, but you'll take points. I was asked about this last night, just real quick. I think Florida State's going to be pretty damn average for the first half of the season. I think it's going to be a roller coaster. I think you can see a lot of up and down. Oh, man, that's a tough loss. Oh, that's a nice win. What is this team? I think you're going to see a lot of that confusion, and you'll be getting a little nervous because they'll be middling through 12 to 14 games of the year, and you're going to go, okay. And then I think you come around the second half of the season, once they have an idea who works well together, they'll play to what they are, what those strengths are. This is a staff that always does a good job of building towards something late if they're not injured, building towards, more of an identity late. I don't think this group has that this year early. I think you're going to be waiting a little bit longer than you're comfortable with.
Yeah, there are years where what the starting five looks like, but how are you going to fill out the rest of the roster? The six-man typically ends up going top 15 in the NBA draft, but you get my point is what role player is going to be used in certain situations. And to me, yesterday, it looked like for a lot of the groupings on the floor that they hadn't either played a lot together or they were just flustered because the way they rotated, the way they defended in transition was bad, just plainly bad, giving up a lot of open threes to Florida. Obviously, it's a really motivated Florida team because they're tired of hearing about that. There shouldn't be a storyline for your basketball team in November, period, like good or bad. But for them, they've had to be asked about that, those upperclassmen on that team, for a long time. And I know that they've also got a lot of experienced transfers. It looked the part. Florida looked like a team with a ton of experience. Florida State looked like a team with not a ton of experience. And they challenge you, too. Their style is to challenge you. It's not to go play finesse and run and gun. No, defensively, Florida State got, a clinic. Leonard said it perfectly in the postgame. We got out Florida State. Out Florida Stated by Florida.
Yeah. I will also note, and I think Live Spectator is correct, we're going to miss Balsa a lot. I really wish he had made a different decision because he could really be of huge help to this particular team. I mean,
correct.
They could really use him. Jeff Cameron, Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Former Florida State standout and Super Bowl champion Nigel Bradham is out on bond facing marijuana charges and a gun charge in Leon County. A Florida trooper noticed a dirty tag on a clean car. The trooper pulled Bradham over after the tag came back unassigned and previously registered to a Dodge van. The trooper immediately smelled marijuana during the traffic stop. Bradham's license came back suspended for insurance, and during a search of the car, troopers recovered 10 small plastic bags of marijuana in the front passenger seat, and in the trunk, troopers found 2 large bags of marijuana and 2 pistols. One was determined to be stolen from Missouri. This is not his first run-in with the law enforcement. In 2016, Bradham was arrested in Miami for bringing a loaded gun to the airport, and later that year, he was charged for punching a hotel employee. That person suffered a broken nose. He played for FSU from 2008 to 2012. An NFL career followed, including the 2017 Super Bowl win for the Philadelphia Eagles. Bradham is currently not playing for any NFL team. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Ample sunshine expected this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 70. North winds around 5 miles per hour. Lows level off around 47 tonight. Clear skies, sunny skies and calm tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 74. Dry with temperatures above average Wednesday and Thursday and highs in the upper 70s. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 70.
The best happy hour in Tallahassee just got happier. Wednesdays at Wahoo Seafood Grill, enjoy half-off appetizers from 3 to 7 p.m. Calamari, boom boom shrimp, gator tails, mudbug fries, and more. All half price from 3 to 7 p.m. every Wednesday. And if you're looking for a fresh lunch to break up the day, Wahoo serves up fresh fish tacos, sandwiches, and po' boys all week long for under $10. Visit Wahoo Seafood Grill today on North Monroe Street. Check out the full menu and order online at wahooseafoodgrill.com.
If you weren't the owner of Gordo's and all those wonderful restaurants, what would you be doing?
I think I'd want to be I don't know what I'd want to be. Boat captain or a cowboy.
You know how to use a lasso?
No.
You'd have to do that if you were a cowboy.
Yeah, but I've never even been on a horse. It's not my place to be on a horse.
I agree.
And the horse thing shoot.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
Charlie Crist, he's running for governor. To mention the governor, I'm tired of it. I'm sick of it. We see it in presidential. We see it all the time. It's the new norm. We even saw it in local that it should be. It's like, hey, I'm running for this local
Do
seat.
you understand? I heard a statistic that like half of our population reads at like an 8th grade level.
And what is the other two-thirds
Half
rate?
doesn't. That means almost half does not. You're right.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Just a respite from the glory of the win. Listen to this paragraph. 3 people have died and almost 500 were injured following a scorpion swarm in Egypt's southern city of Aswan caused by thunderstorms since Friday, bringing many of them onto the streets and into people's homes. Many of the attacks occurred in the mountainous areas. So if you go on and read the rest of the story, people, I've been told, to get off the streets. Schools have had to shut down. They are overwrought by scorpions because of storms.
Well,
are you effing kidding me?
Yeah, it's a bleep storm because it's The Rock. Remember, he was the Scorpion King.
Yes.
And he was so displeased with what happened on Saturday night that the Scorpion King is making his way around the parts of Egypt.
These are fat-tailed scorpions. They're considered to be amongst the most deadly in the world. Venom from the black fat tail, as it's known, can kill humans in under an hour. Symptoms related can include difficulty breathing, muscle twitching and spasms, and severe headaches. Oh, no. No, man, what are we doing? I'm going out for a walk. I'm taking it to the local market. I got to grab some bread, maybe some milk, some other items. What is this? That's a scorpion. There's another one. And there are some coming right towards me. This is insane. Overwhelmed by scorpions. Imagine the moment that you're about to die. Really? This is how I'm going? This is what happened here today?
The scorpions. I'm going to be that
scorpions.
guy.
The guys are going to be killed by scorpions.
You know you have a 1 in 350,000 chance.
Yeah, I'm that guy.
one.
I'm the one. That is a toughie. They said it's because there have been prolonged thunderstorms. So do you think, like, the second they hear thunder in this particular town, they're like, oh, no.
Yeah, they're not thinking AC/DC.
They're like, man, we got to load up the car, Catherine. I heard thunder in the distance.
Catherine.
Hop in the vehicle. It's
Catherine
time to
from
ride.
Cairo, yeah.
It's time to ride, baby. That is nuts.
So can you take the Schadenfreude cap off for just a moment and try to live in our counterpart shoes? 4th and 14. Could you imagine? Could you imagine if that was us? I guess you could. Jacksonville State was akin to a 4th and 14 because it was 4th and 59 or whatever it was. But to your rival, after the emotions of putting together
to your rival, after you've come all the way back,
a 21-0 run.
Yeah, no, you thought you had the game won. You thought you had the game won, and you're sitting there going, well, 4th and 14. I don't think Jordan can make that throw. They don't have the receivers to make that play. Oh, first and goal on the 1. Well, we're going to lose.
I wonder if there was still a defeatist attitude because that defense has been garbage all year long. So I wonder if, 3rd and Kelly was a thing because we knew it was coming. In that instance, I wonder if up 28-0, swaggy as they felt, if maybe the truth of their defense was able to supersede the swagginess and the U fan to be defeated in that moment. I wonder.
I don't know. I know they call Manny Diaz Manny Iaz. They all call him Manny Iaz without the D. It's glorious.
That's good.
They do.
That's really good.
Oh, I was watching them bicker with each other all day yesterday. It was awesome.
You were?
Oh, I spent most of my day doing that. I sat there and
you have
reveled
turned into a message board lurker for all teams not named Florida State. It's hilarious.
Well,
You mentioned you looked at the A&M boards when Jimbo was going bad, the LSU boards when O was going bad.
It's funny. It's funny to watch. I don't post anything. I don't set them up.
The Clemson board when they're losing games, you're like, ooh, they're turning on Dabo.
Well, they were turning on Tony Elliott, and that caught my attention. Well, I'll tell you why. Most of the time, it's because I'm doing these game previews for the college sports book, and I always have to go to these team sites to try to interview the local beat reporters or the people that cover the team the best. And so, because of the job description, I've had to go to these places. And I never used to have to do that. And so then I found it very rewarding that as I clicked on these stories, you go to the comments section or where it says talk about it more on the boards. I'm like, oh, let's see what the fans think of that one. And I'll click on it and I crack up because, especially if they're going bad, invariably there's a lot of vitriol, as you can imagine. So I read these things and I'm like, oh, man. So this is Rich. They call him Manny Iaz, which is hilarious. That made me laugh for starters. I had no idea. See, if I hadn't clicked on that, I wouldn't have known. Then it gets really...
That's crazy, too. They only rushed 3. They had a spy in, but they rushed 3 on 4th and 14.
I know.
So you're beating 7. You're beating 7 in coverage.
Yeah, and easily, by the way. That's just a dig route.
It is.
It's just a simple dig route.
There's 2 of them.
Yeah.
You're running a clear out. But I think Pokey was even open. The guy who's supposed to be doing the clearing, I think he might have been open as well.
It's like they choked. Their defenders, who had a pretty good handle on the game for much of the second half, just the moment was too big for him. I don't know if they didn't think he could make the throw. I don't know what that was about.
It's amazing how you see symmetry as you get older, right? You see the cycle of things. But it's that same end zone that 3rd and Kelly happens on.
Right.
You got your 4th and 14. We saw the Carlos play in 2014. They have one yesterday. It's like some of these elements that are just so wacky that you think this is the first time I've ever seen it. No, they just happen again. I mean, Fryer's catch is the same route that Ja'Kai Douglas runs. Now, it's not the same circumstance because there's not a partner route that's pulling a safety in, and Jordan didn't have to break the pocket and roll right.
Yeah.
Same sideline, same direction, same route.
Yeah, side note, really good job yet again of adjusting to the pressure in the second half when they had to throw and the whole world knew they were going to throw. They rolled him out. They rolled Jordan out every time on 3rd and longer than 6. And they understood, we're going to have to move the pocket because we can't probably just block this up in an obvious passing down. When they tried without rolling him out, we got crushed, and he knew it. And so, again, people always want to see adjustments. That's another adjustment. It happened in game. They began to roll the pocket.
They had him dead to rights. The game was over on 1st and 10 near midfield in the 3rd quarter with that screen pass.
Oh, it's going to – I mean, there's a real good chance the play scores. Maybe not. Like you said, guaranteed to get to the red zone. It's the right call at the right time. It's all set up. He's got blockers. Right. It's going to go for days.
It was Corbin flared out when it should be vertical, and that's what they were talking about after. You see the camera captures that conversation. But as the throw misses and it bounces up the field, the camera continues to pan with it.
There's nothing but green grass for days. I could see it in the stands.
Escorts.
I was watching. I was like, oh, he's going to walk in.
And escorts.
I know. It's a great play call that we didn't get to see executed right, which would have added to the satisfaction we feel with the play calling, the game adjustments, and all of that. Yeah, they did a fine job. I'll tell you something, too, and a lot of you who were in the stands, you know this, and if you paid attention, let's say you've gone to all the home games, you know who coaches his ass off on Saturdays is Atkins. I mean, every time that offensive line comes over, there is a thorough vetting of the previous series and what we have to do better. And you can watch it play out, but it's instructive. It's smart. It's really interesting. Now, it's also intense, but there's no question about what is being asked of you. It is abundantly clear. You must do this, and here's how we're going to adjust to that, you know?
But every player on this roster and that we are recruiting says the same thing about him. He's real.
Yeah.
And that's important because you establish the credibility to be able to take the hard coaching, deliver the hard coaching if you're Alex Atkins. That's something that a few offensive line coaches ago we didn't have. You didn't have that relationship as a foundation to where you could get coached hard.
Well, it's the that's where the emotions come into play. When you see coaches get excited and emotional about kids having success after a big win when they've struggled, it's because you've gone through it with them. You know, you've established those relationships. You found a way to connect with kids to where you can say awfully harsh things when necessary, but also put your arm around them because they know you care. And you just want so much for those kids to reap the rewards of the sacrifice and the work put in and the belief, the buy-in. You want desperately for that to be the case. And so, for me, I could see why those coaches were so excited on Saturday night. Now, again, I do think they have an unenviable task in a weird way because you want them to revel in this and enjoy a win. They've worked hard for it. But you got to tell them, look, BC's probably right now every bit as good at better than Miami. They got their quarterback back. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant team.
Everyone has their own routine after a long day. For me, I like to take a walk with my dog, get some fresh air, maybe relax on the porch, and lay in my hammock in a nice shady spot. No matter what your routine is, you know the sound of those mosquitoes. It starts with just, then another, and then another. And before you know it, you're literally slapping yourself, running for safety inside. Paul's Termite and Pest Control has an inexpensive solution to this persistent problem. Paul's has a program that treats the grounds, flower beds, shrubs, and standing water, and it controls mosquitoes year-round, which means you can take back control of your yard and quit smacking yourself across the face. Enjoy your yard again, mosquito-free. Call Paul's Termite and Pest Control today for your free consultation for the elimination of termites or any other pest. Visit Paul's online at callpauls.com. That's callpauls.com.
What's important when shopping at a gun store? Let's start with a friendly and knowledgeable staff. Then add top-notch service, great selection and pricing, and a personal shopping experience only found at a locally owned and operated business. At Red Hills Arms, they're right on target. While other gun stores come and go, Red Hills Arms remains Tallahassee's go-to local gun store for all your firearms needs. Stop by today and get welcomed in like family.
When you need a plumber quick, how long is an acceptable time to have to wait?
Yeah, hey, it's the Millers again. I'm just calling you about our little plumbing problem.
2 hours?
Hey, we were hoping you can get here soon because the water is getting really bad. I mean, please hurry.
4 hours?
I know you said you were on your way, but, honey, tell the kids to tread water.
8 hours?
Don't worry about us. We're fine.
At M&L Plumbing, you'll never have to wait long for quality, dependable service right when you need it. At M&L Plumbing, we listen to our customers, and our qualified technicians aim to achieve 100% customer satisfaction. So the next time you need plumbing work or repairs, think of the name M&L Plumbing, your local plumbing experts, commercial or residential. Give us a call, 850-575-9393, or visit us online at mandlplumbing.com. M&L Plumbing, for all of your plumbing needs.
Live in living color and totally free. Subscribe to Warchant TV on YouTube, the digital home of Warchant.com. From the practice field to pregame and the phone calls afterwards, Warchant's YouTube channel is home to live programming like Seminole Headlines, Wake Up Warchant, The Jeff Cameron Show, as well as Trench Talk, a live Q&A with Noles offensive lineman Devontae Love-Taylor. Just search Warchant on YouTube and click or tap the subscribe button. That's it. It's totally free. Warchant TV on YouTube. Just another reason we're the ultimate Seminole sports source.
Updates with the latest articles, and to me, I'm now eagerly anticipating this week of content because that's a big game against BC coming up.
Yeah, and tonight there's Trench Talk as well, 6 o'clock with DLT, who had a really good game in Pass Pro. Nice bounce back effort. DLT finished strong 2 weeks to go in your career at Florida State, and
well done, young
I'm
man.
sure there'll be a little bump tonight. So stop by on Warchant TV at 6 o'clock for that.
North Florida Payroll Services, locally owned for nearly 15 years, offering payroll and HR services, including full online applicant onboarding and integration into payroll. Save your company money and headaches today. Head to northfloridapayroll.com.
Hey, Big Daddy, having some Red Russians tonight?
We'll know in about 47 seconds.
To an open wing. It's picked up by Dowdy, an empty net. He scores.
Hot damn, Big Daddy's done it again. Red Russians all around, Teddy. All right, Big Daddy.
And away we go. Where are we at on this? Are we 1-1, 2-0?
We are 1-1. Yeah. Florida did not deliver last week when they played at Pittsburgh.
was worried about Florida, man. I feel like they're going a little bit through some adversity. They just did lose to the defending Stanley Cup champions twice. So no shame in that.
So our Tampa Bay's opponent tonight, the New York Islanders.
Hey now.
Who had to play, I think it's 13 straight road games this season.
Ouch.
13 straight road games because their building was not ready in Uniondale. Well, it's west of Uniondale now. They're playing the first of back-to-back tonight in Tampa. They're going down to play the Panthers tomorrow. They're going for broke tonight. I say under 5.5 goals between the Islanders and the Lightning tonight.
It is the popular one, by the way. That number is at 5.5, both at Circa, South Point. Opening line was that as well. No movement. Well done. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Go Noles.